Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.
Welcome, race fans, to another week of racing action. It's the Southern National Motorsports Park, aka Oxford Plains Oval. I'm Alexa Marshall, joined by Tristan Herbst. Our cameraman in the back is Samuel Akumo, and this is the TGR Nation Grand V Series. It is going to be a very different format this week, Tristan, because we've already got the cars on the grid, and the formation lap is underway. It's going to be an interesting one tonight.
Absolutely. We're going head in first with a double heat race over here for the next round here of TGR Nation. And this is really going to be a good one to watch. We're on heat one now. The drivers are just busy with their formation lap, but definitely something different. It does make sense though, because we've got a completely different kind of track that we're usually working with Formula V. It's a very conventional track with only left-handed turns here, traditional oval. And this is really going to be an interesting one. And I believe damage is actually turned off for this, Alexa.
Yeah, it does seem like damage will be off for the heat, so we now get ready to go. You see the formation lap underway out there. You get the drivers' heats into the tyres. A good old oval. It is how the racing does come down to it. You see them now going double file, coming into this long left-hander, maybe creating a bit of distance. You know it's going to happen when the car comes in, as it does now. Eyes now go to the gantry lights. Green flag drops, we are racing, and it's already going to be 4 wide, 3 wide into turn number 1. Going to be wheel to wheel, side by side. Matthews gets an amazing start. Already going to have Rattray White up there as well. This is the thing with ovals. They're going to be right up against each other. 4x4 through all these corners. Still going to hold into it is Rick Matthews. Andrew James gets past Alex. Nathan Maroney going to make his way through. Alex through. Blake through. All over the place. Babson and Carr having a battle for the back. Kapinski and Maroney also up against each other as well.
Yeah, Maroney had an absolutely incredible launch there in the start of the race. They're just managing to sneak a nice position. Oh, and there's contact. And that looks to be a car off. That's Rich Matthews just getting a little bit. Oh, and there's huge contact just a little bit further down. Andrew Matthews is upside down. And so is Zach White, our current championship leader, is upside down and back to the pit lane. So let's have a quick look at this. This turned pear-shaped very quickly. So going through one of the left-handers, just a little bit of snick. There goes Rich Matthews. There goes Zach Rattray White. Turns left into another car and a massive accident over there. As you can see, 2 cars flipped over on top and capsized on top of the racing line. That is an incredibly huge accident. Thankfully, damage is turned off for this, but Zach still having to return to the pit lane. Gapinski gains that first position within 1.5 minutes here of Heat 1. What an incredible little start right there we had, Alexa. I mean, it was all going smooth until it wasn't.
All smooth until you don't, and it is how the racing at the end of the day works. You got to wonder now, how is that going to affect Rattray White? Because to get into the feature race after the heats, you've got to be top 7. Of course, there is the consolation race. However, being so far down now and so many laps down, that is just going to be extremely unfortunate for him, especially considering his chances in the championship fight.
Yeah, absolutely. You definitely do not want to have a tip over in a situation like this because, for example, you can see Andrew James and Zach Rattray White, both drivers who ended up upside down, already 4 laps down on this extremely short circuit. So you can see there are about 15 to 16 second lap times, and that's already the fight being thrown away. And as you mentioned, this is now a very poor opportunity for Zach to get into the feature race. Like you mentioned, there is also a consolation race, but there isn't much time to play with here. This is a 6-minute race. It's extremely quick, and not much can be done from this point. Alex Bradley trying to find the outside line, though. Just on the left side there of that looks to be Michael Thiessen, holding off on the inside and just losing out that position there to Bradley, who holds on to it. But this is the thing about over racing, Alexa, is that it's very slipstreamy, and the draft is an incredible factor in this. And you'll see loads of the drivers trying to tuck in and gain as much speed as possible coming into the corners.
Indeed they do, and now going into these final ones as well, you can see on the map on the top right, these cars go around this circuit so quickly, they are just flying around it. And you've already looked on the top left as well, lap number 12 for heat number 1. Through these corners, onto the back straight. The draft is what has come into play here. Ever since that big incident in about lap number 3, because the circuit is so short, everybody's seemingly hopping into the draft now, playing the safe game, because they know if they have a contact or a crash like that, then they are gone. Then they do not have a chance to be top 7 in this heat.
No, absolutely not. I mean, Zach Rattray White is already 10 laps down. He's back into the pit lane, actually. So another incident or something has happened with our championship leader, and he's down in 12th. Definitely not recoverable in this race, though. Zen Carr has got another issue on his hand. He's got Babson just behind him on the oval, and you can see trying to gain that slipstream and gain a way around the lightning painted V, and he could potentially do it in that upcoming corner. Sean Kapinski, though, has really benefited from this race because of the incidents at hand, and now it's white flag already. Sean Kapinski has already finished the race. It's checkered flag, and that's first position for him in this heat. Maroney takes second, and Matthias Marin takes third. Alex Bube Bradley takes fourth, with Michael Thiessen in fifth and Marshall in 6th position. And that's how fast these heats go. I mean, Alexa, one mistake and that is your race over.
Indeed, Zenkar as well, P number 7, of course, top 7 will go through. The others have to wait for the consolation race. Of course, top 7 from the heats go into the feature automatically, and then those who did not get through the heats going into a consolation race where only the top 2 will then go through. And we've got heat 2 about to come our way. Let's go through this real quickly, because Tristan, we already saw what happened in the first heat, so what do we think is going to be happening here in the second? Because surely heat 2 would want to take some notes.
Absolutely. I mean, we've got a completely different grid of drivers here. Obviously, the entire other half of the grid has been shuffled into Heat 2 and now behind the pace car on formation lap. So they got to actually preview what has just happened in Heat 1. They saw what happened, they saw the contact, and I'm sure the main objective for every single driver here in Heat 2 is going to be to just try and avoid any forms of contact. Yes, slipstream is crucially important for them, but trying to avoid contact is going to be the win to a race like this. They saw what happened to Zach Rattray White after one massive incident, and that's it. Race over completely, and there's 0 shots of coming back. So that's going to be the main objective of all these drivers, trying to just actually get to the finish line on the same lap as the race leader. Do you think they can do it, Alexa?
Well, this is the thing that you got to think about as well. They've only got 15 laps to do so. So that is how many they've got, and once those 15 laps are over, that is it. You cannot go any longer as the lights come on the gantry, and it is green flag again, and we are away for heat number 2. That's going to be so much chaos in the background. One car's already off. That is going to be Chris Lim. Mike Schweening is going to be out as well. So now it's going to be all over the place. Right is there. We've got a car in the barrier up top of Castellano, or was it Gutierrez? As now you got right getting past Big Dog up there as well. You've got Brongers who's watching it happen. No steps. That is Dembrowski and Cassiano who have had the contacts as well, Tristan.
Alex, I mean, these guys didn't take any notes from race 1. I swear this is actually a little bit worse than heat 1. There has been so much contact. Schweening is out of this race. After that contact, Chris Lim has got a meatball flag, and Dembowski's got a black flag penalty, all in the span of 4 laps around a 15-second long track. I did not think something like this would be possible around a track so short, but these drivers have managed to pull it off in such a short time. I don't even think we can get a replay of all that action, because we'd literally miss out on everything else in this very short race. But that was absolute chaos. Going back though, just a little bit to see what happens. Yes, Herrick Gutierrez, he was in the wall a little bit earlier. You pointed out there, Alexa. You can see he actually just lost a little bit of control. Looks like he's taking a little bit of slow there in the Great Britain flag car. And almost looks like he tries to park it, actually. But yeah, very, very eventful start to this race. And I mean, we talk about it being the start of the race. I mean, we're already on like lap 8, Alexa.
This is what is happening here. You got Dembowski, rear end twitches on him. Man, that is one car into it as well. And that just takes both of them out. Luckily, it seemed like everybody else got away scot-free from it. But those two drivers having that big moment there. But now, here on lap number 8, going on to lap number 9. And you got Big Dog right now, who is holding on to this position. He's got 3 cars chasing down behind him of Leo Brongers, Rich Matthews, and Joel Bagada. Now through this left-hander again. Of course, it's an oval, so you're always turning left as you have this battle for P1, but you can see the gaps over a second to Borgstrud. But you've got right, Dog, Brongers, Bagada all up against each other. Into the slipstream now is going to be Big Dog looking for that P2. But now looking for the inside line. The Canadian versus the American, wheel to wheel for a moment, but has to back out now onto the inside. But of course, we know how this usually works with bankings. Higher you up the R, the bigger the banking, more speed you're going to be able to carry.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's exactly what Rob Wright just did. Holding off on the right-hand side there. He doesn't get the best turn in on these left-hand corners, but he does carry more speed on the exit. And you can see how that happens there, because Big Dog managing to gain a little bit of intel on him there on the inside line, almost wheel to wheel with him. But by the time the turn's over, Rob Wright has already generated a little bit more speed in terms of kilometers, and he's already trying to wrap that car back around. But Big Dog is holding on. You can just see the yellow wheel there of Wright on the right-hand side of him, holding on for dear life. A little bit further, though, there is more fights escalating as the battle for second is growing, because Brongers and Bagada are joining in very closely, because now Bagada getting on the rear side of Leo Brongers, and this could potentially be a double overtake position. We've seen it happen before, and it is double likely to happen on an oval track like this. So we're going to have to keep an eye on this battle. But like you were saying, Alexa, Borgersrud has absolutely ran away with this race.
As Bagada is in the background as well. Line it up and take your shot is what some people might say. But this is the thing as well. It's only the heat. You got the feature race later. So are they going to play the safe game as the white flag flies now? Final lap for these drivers. Do you play it safe? And that seems to be what they're going to do for now, as they are inside the top 7. Now through this final left-hander. It's been absolutely driven away with it. Kapinski did it in heat 1. Borgstrud does it in heat number 2. Brongers is going to be P6. Is he going to lose out here? Yes, he will. P7 just about holds on to it. Or does he? Has a big contact there in the end. However, it's going to just about hold on to it. It stays in P7. Will get through without having to do a consolation race. But it's the Norwegian on top, followed by the Canadian, followed by the American. And Tristan, now the drivers who did not get through via the heats, they've got another chance here, because we got the consolation race.
Yeah, so I mean, you can see some recognizable names of here. Rattray White is in the bottom there, as well as Schweening. Both drivers who were 10 laps and actually DNF from the previous races. Khan is in there. Dembowski, who had a massive incident as well, is in this race. Babson will lead us off, though, in this consolation race. Matthews is in there. Gutierrez is in there, who had a little bit of wall contact in Heat 2. And this is now, like you mentioned, going to be the recovery race. If you think about this like a double Elam bracket, in an esports tournament, this is now the lower bracket fight. This is to try and get back up to the top spot for that feature race and potentially have your shot at managing to get a couple of positions here in the championship standings. Unfortunately, if you don't have a great race here, well, it's not going to look too great for you coming to the feature race. But you can see a couple more drivers pulling onto the starting grid here. There's Rich Matthews, who had a little bit of contact at the start of the previous race, but they're going to get on the way now to get started with their formation lap just behind the pace car. And for now, it's going to be easy running, but like we know, Alexa, this is not a very long lap for formation.
Yeah, well, we've seen it happen. It's both races within at least 3 laps. There has been a massive crash. So now in the consolation race, it is down to this, and it seems like Ratchet White has backed off a little bit. He wants to give the drivers up ahead a little bit of space. Of course, you got to be within the limit at the end of the formation, but at the end of the day, you've got so many drivers all up against each other. And we've also seen, Tristan, when they are coming to the line, they're not double aside. They are very much right up against each other.
Yeah, no, absolutely. These drivers really tried to take advantage of the starting grid, and also just the theme of this track not being your traditional, multiple corners left and right. It's just an oval with left-handers. And so some of the drivers tend to take the inside line, some take the outside line for the better embankment speed, but it's already getting away. Cassiano gets an incredible launch around the outside line. There's contact already, and there goes another huge accident. Blake Babson, little bit of rear loss there on that Formula V, and it just leads to a whole complicated series of unfortunate events as he rear ends multiple cars on grid. Cassiano completely avoids all the contact up into first position. This is looking great for him so far if he can hold it. But Rich Matthews and Dembowski are both behind him, wanting to hunt down that P1. Zach Ratchet White is 5 positions up on lap 2 already, coming onto lap 3. So he's made an incredible recovery on this consolation race. And a couple more. Schweening is up 3 positions, but that is Khan, Babson, and Gutierrez. Major losses for all 3 drivers.
Well, you've also got to take into account only the top 2 will get through to the feature. Ratchet White, maybe P3 on the podium, but he is not in it yet. He has to chase that down, and he has to do it as quickly as possible. Matthews will be watching his rear view, just like James will be, because he's got Chris Slim right up behind him. Heading into this corner again, one more time, and on to the main straight, under the gantry, past the fans, as the cars roar to life, as you've got all of them. It's absolutely amazing when these drivers go around here with such good speed. Down into this corner though, as Khan gets past Schweening further back. It's not Schweening's day at all, as you now got Ratchet White, who's wheel to wheel, side by side, looking for P number 2. We'll get into P number 2. 7 positions up since the start, and he is on an absolute flyer, Tristan.
Yeah, Ratchet White is hungry to get into that feature race. He had a super unfortunate race there in Heat 1, and now trying to make up for it. He's going to potentially try and catch Cassiano as well, but he's already confirmed his spot in the feature race by being top 2. He's pushed Matthews just outside of that transfer window, and now Matthews is going to be holding on to the back, trying to recover, but the reigning champion has got speed. He's got consistency as well in that V, and he knows exactly what he's doing. Already 5/10 now to Cassiano. This could be a close one for who will take that P2, because if something does happen with Cassiano and Ratchet White, we could potentially see a bit of change of events. But already lap 9 of this very short 15-lap race, so we could be seeing the end of it very soon. Babson and Schweening, like you mentioned, Alexa, just not their day at the moment, currently sitting 8th and 9th, and just not able to find the grip here in this consolation race.
To do across the entirety of this season so far. So you see him so far down, and it just goes to show that you change the format 1 week and it can create a whole nother story. Chris Lim still on the back of James, trying to get past, but no move done yet for the time being. My question, which I'm looking at, because he's closing down rapidly, Ratchet White, he's chasing down that P number 1. I would say he wants it, simply so he has another car in between him and P number 3.
Yeah, absolutely. He's just wanting to try and actually gain a little bit of distance in P1 and not have that risk, because obviously Matthews is behind. He's not too far behind, but being in first will relieve any form of risk here for Ratchet White in terms of maintaining P1 and definitely having a guarantee to get into the feature race and potentially doing a little bit of a last to first. I believe he can do it. Do you think he can?
I mean, he's the reigning champion at the end of the day, and he's on a champion, and he is on a champion's drive at the current moment as they head under the gantry one more time. Lap number 14 now on the board, but it seems like he keeps on trying to go for an up and under here, Tristan, but it's not. But it's seemingly not working out. Although it may this time, and yes, it will. He's still wheel to wheel, side by side, but he gets ahead. P number 1. I revoked my previous statement.
Yeah, absolutely. He made that work like absolute paperwork right there, just doing it simply as it is always meant to be done. And it's very odd to think how speed can be generated at a track like this. Like, where can you find time? But obviously at a track like this, it all comes down to slipstream. Zach really found the slipstream there and managed to catch it just on the underover. And that is checkered flag. Rattray White takes P1 and Cassiano P2. So both of them will transfer over to the feature race. Unfortunately, from Rich Matthews all the way down to Gutierrez will not be seeing the feature race, and that is their night of racing over in terms of the TGR Nation Grand V Series. A super unfortunate one, but that is just sometimes how racing is.
It's how it goes at the end of the day. I think the biggest shock for many of us, what it may be, is Schweening there. We've seen how fast he can be this entire season, but being out this early, it is quite a shock. But it looks like this. Kapinski lines up in P number 1 with Borgstrud in P number 2. Maroney sits P number 3. Rob Wright P number 4, followed by Marin, Dog, Bradley, Joel Bagada, Thiessen, and Hanley rounds out the top 10. Then Nick Marshall, followed by Rodrigo Tostes in P number 12. It is then
Zencar takes it from... Yep.
It's Zencar, followed by Brongers, then Rattray White, then Cassiano. And Tristan, looking at this grid, what do we think it's going to be in this one? Because, of course, it's very different, because in this one, they're in the feature race, it's 16 drivers, 60 laps, cautions on, 13 incidents max, drive-through penalties after every five incidents. It's a very interesting format now, because they've got to pay extra close attention.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the format will still be a little bit different to how we usually see it in racing. Obviously, there is no physical damage in this lobby, so there's not going to be too much contact and sending back to pit lane. But there, like you mentioned, it is still 60 laps around this track. And what we are going to see here that we haven't seen in the past 2 races, well, the past 3 races actually, is the risk of back markers. It's going to come in here because it's a 60-lap race. And although a very short circuit with only 15 laps, 60 laps can create that distance for the race leader to catch up to back markers who have potentially struggled here. And I believe we're going to be able to see it today. It's not the greatest thing, and it does mean traffic management is going to be a big one for these drivers. But this is where the skill is going to be shown, because we're rounding out here, just coming onto the final bends to start off our feature race.
And the cautions, if there is any, will make it a whole lot more interesting. Kapinski P1, Borgstrud P number 2, with plenty of drivers sat behind. It is now eyes to the gantry lights. Green flag drops. We are racing. That's going to be a good start for Hanley. Kapinski holds on to P number 1. Borgstrud, Bradley getting passed through. And Marshall is going to get passed through as well. Maroney holding on to P number 3 in his current position. Hanley getting past Marshall now. It's going to be all over the place. 9 and 10 battling a bit further back, but everybody seemingly getting through this first lap nice and clean. Rattray White gets past Tostes. We saw how quickly he could get up in that consolation race. Can he do it again? Big contact in the back, Tristan. Thiessen is there, Tostes is there, but Brongers, Cassiano as well. That is a massive contact, and the caution is out.
That was an absolutely huge crash. Thankfully, there is no collision incidents over there, so the cars are not going to be having any form of damage on them from that. But let's have a look at Rodrigo Tostes on the outside. Oh, and massive grip lock there. I think that might have been Michael Thiessen, and it just sent Rodrigo Tostes launching into the outside barrier there, thankfully recovering the car quite quickly and actually gaining a position after the incident there. But an incredible accident there towards the backside. It's not the main thing you want to see, as we've got a car just Xing out the pit lane. You can see another replay there just getting launched, and Leo Brongers, facing on head first into another car there. He tried to avoid the car on the right and just couldn't see the white car on the left, and that is super unfortunate for him. Cassiano, after winning the consolation race, is down to 15th already.
But now, this is the thing with the cautions. Cars are catching up, so you said that back markers could be an issue. However, if we're gonna have cautions like we are, it's going to be even more interesting. And it has been tested, and it just shows how quick this circuit goes around. It's about 19 seconds on average behind the caution, so this is what makes it even more interesting. But the car comes in, green flag is out again, and now they go racing one more time. Maroney ought to get past. Maroney got an absolutely amazing start there in a P number 2. Right also in there with Marin. Cassiano and Marshall further back. Wheel to wheel, already going into the long left-hander again. Maroney, the Australian versus the Norwegian. Wheel to wheel, Rattray White versus Begala further back. Dog gets past Borgström. Rattray White gets 2 positions. He's on an absolute flyer. 8 positions up, half over way done, and that's only in the space of 7 laps. Walker the reigning champ do tonight. He is on an absolute fly. 7 positions up, Tristan.
Absolutely, and like you mentioned, Maroney got an absolutely insane launch. Oh, there's massive contact towards the back of the grid. Rob Wright is facing the completely wrong way around. Matthias Marin just a little bit further in front. We saw him in the wall there. Let's have a look at what happened there. We were about to go into a little bit of an explanation, but then massive contact happened over here. Rob Wright 12 positions down. A little bit of contact there. Rob Wright caught on the inside, gets a little bit of a back tap, and you could see there just on the left, Matthias Marin got absolutely clipped into the wall over there. Super unfortunate for him, and managing to spin that car back around. Rob Wright facing the completely wrong way. So very, very unfortunate event. Marin's got the meatball flag to go back into the pit lane, and things have really escalated here. I wanted to mention though that Rattray White needs the cautions because he's actually trying to climb back up to P1. We mentioned the last to P1 positioning over here. The more cautions he gets, the closer he has to get a launch on the car in front of him.
Well, we saw it happen with some other drivers. Maroney got an absolutely amazing launch on the last time the caution went green. So now, is it going to be Rattray White's time? Maroney was P number 6. So P6 may be the lucky position here, but you've got Carr who's still trying to catch up. And now, everybody, once again, is on the lead lap, Tristan. So I think we may need to revoke the previous statement where back markers were going to be an issue.
Yeah, absolutely. It really has changed a little bit with cautions here. Unfortunately, the race has not stayed as clean as you think it would have been, because a clean race could potentially lead to some back markers being generated. But unfortunately, every single time there's contact, which has happened again with Neil Handley and Rob Wright once again, then everybody lines up behind each other, behind the pace car, who is once again pulling out of the pit lane. This guy does not get a break here, unfortunately. And that is massive contact once again for Rob Wright. Let's have a look at this. On the race start, you can see just holding off on the inside. There's Neil Handley. He clips the inside there, and another car, Cassiano, launches, and then just getting fed right into the back of the likes of Rob Wright. An unfortunate bump there for Wright, just not being able to avoid Neil Handley. And once again, contact towards the back of this race. Can you believe it? Literally, as we mentioned it, Alexa.
It seems to be that all these issues, it seems to be that I'm pretty sure if I had a nickel for every time this has happened in the same corner, it's happened about twice now. So coming out of turn number 1 is seemingly the issue here, as Nick Marshall has a excursion in the pit lane apparently. I am very confused at that. Is that legal?
I'm not actually sure if that's legal.
Well, either way, what is legal is the pace car being out there, as I'll call it the pace car because we are technically in America. But right now, coming through the left-hander once again into the pit lane, and green flag is out, and we are racing again. Rattray White gets up to P number 4 now. Bradley also up there. Cassiano in there as well. Pit exit is going to be Marshall. Wright has a black flag, and now all over the place. Bradley, going to be massive contact. 5, 6, 7, loads of drivers caught up in that. P number 7 downwards. Caution is out again. And where is our lovely pace car driver? But we're going to get a replay here of what happened in the mid-pack this time. Coming out of turn number 1, and it's seemingly coming over to the side. Car goes into the barrier actually, and coming back onto the circuit is what caused that. So it's an initial contact with the barrier, which spews you back out onto the circuit. And once again, the pace car is out, and they are getting their day's worth of pay.
And once again, unfortunately, that incident contained Rob Wright, who made contact there with Borgersrud, and that's the reason he went launching. So Rob, now in the pit lane once again, You can see just from the back there, look at him limping just on towards the backside and pulls into the pit lane again after yet another series of contact. He actually misses it there. I believe he tried to pull in there, and unfortunately having to pull the car over and actually get a tow back. And it has not been a good race so far for Wright. He's actually down as a back marker, even with the pace car, as well as Marshall, both 2 and 4 laps down respectively. So super unfortunate there for those drivers. But like we have mentioned, a couple of drivers have really benefited from this. Maroney's up to 2nd, and Zach Rattray-White is up to 3rd already. As we get started, pace cars back in. Michael Thiessen just looking to try and keep it clean for once. There's been so much contact throughout the past couple of races. And can you believe it, Alexa? We make it through turn 1 with no contact.
No contact. Oh, and there is contact in the second banking. And that is going to be big contact. About 6 or 7 cars once again caught up in that. P number 10 upwards gets through. So that is about 5, 6 cars caught up in it. Contact initially, which bring them to the inside, and then cars coming together, squishing together, and that is unfortunate. And Rattray-White, he got up earlier on, but now he is back down the order to P number 14.
Yeah, so he made it from 14th to 4th in 22 laps. He's still got a good 40 or so odd laps left. And, the drivers are stuck. It looks like we have a bit of a suspension glitch here in iRacing. And the drivers are actually stuck on track right by the yellow light flag. I don't actually know if they can get out of this. They might have to tow back to pit lane. But what on earth are we witnessing? Have you ever seen this before, Alexa?
No, this is my first time seeing this. I will mention as well, we did see 3 black flags there momentarily coming in the pit lane. Rattray-White has the meatball, so yeah, they are very much stuck together. That is the first time I've seen that happen. So I am rubbing my eyes to see if this is reality. Yes, it is. I think at this point they just need to both ask for a tow, because they are not getting out of that, and the caution can't be brought in, and the pace car can't come in until both of those cars are out the way either.
Yeah, I think both of them just not wanting to get the tow in, just because of the time loss of actually having to be towed and having to sit with control lock there in the pit lane. But like you say, what can you do in this current situation? They're moving a little bit. Did they get unstuck? Oh, they got unstuck, but it looks like Rattray-White had a little bit of a bounce there. They actually managed to untangle the suspension lines over there, and Zach Rattray-White is back off on track. And it looks like the pace car will be able to pull in. You can see there are quite a good amount behind now, 4 laps down from the starting pack. So an unfortunate turn of events there for Rattray-White. I don't think this is going to be enough time for him to recover this and potentially fight back up to P1. I think that incident has thrown this kind of race away for him, and he's not going to be happy about that. Bradley pulls into the pit lane as well. But that is something I've never seen before, Alexa.
Neither here, as actually Zach Rattray-White has been allowed past, and now he is out as we are green once again. But that was very interesting, as we got Gopinski, who's got away very much scot-free on that. So is Dog, Marin and Bagada going to be fighting each other all the way through the first. Now into the second banking. Is it going to be a full lap of it? It looks like we will. Yes, we will. No more caution. No more caution. Race to the wins, as Marin is going to be making his way through past Bagada as well. There's so much fighting happening now. Toasters going to be getting past Zenkar. Now into this again. We are 28 laps deep into this racing action. Car once again losing out there, and now he's going to be having to fight back. We've got wheel to wheel, side by side between Hanley and Marshall, I believe, but of course Marshall is 3 laps down, Wright is 3 laps down, and you've got Rattray-White, who is out of this race, Bradley in the pits. Now onto the main straight once again under the gantry. Another lap comes, 30 laps deep here, Tristan.
So I wonder, do you think Zach Rattray-White has potentially gotten a disqualification there for passing the pace car? Because he went out as soon as he passed the pace car over there, and he actually just disappeared off track and got the out status next to his live standings time. So I wonder if he's been penalized for that, or if something else has just happened that has ended up in his race being over. So there's definitely no chance for him now. but there is fighting because P1 has changed. Big Dog has taken over. He held the outside line though, and now Gapinski holding on to the inside line has fought back, and now it's a switch back once again because Big Dog has got the inside. He's going to potentially slingshot it again coming into the next embankment, but who will hold it coming into the end of this race? You can see Gapinski all over the rear of that gearbox of Big Dog, and now just trying to look to gain his P1 back all along the sides here. And like we mentioned, there is certain advantages to going wherever you are on the track. So either the inside line or the outside line can either provide an advantage in the corner or coming out of the corner. So drivers need to choose and pick where they want to be. Maroney's a little bit further, as well as Borgersrud, who could potentially join this fight for P1 just a bit further behind. Cassiano has made an incredible comeback from his incident. He's up into 5th already. So incredible stuff from everybody down on the race over here. And now everybody actually just trying to stay alive until the 60 laps has come to an end.
Marshall with a black flag further down. Maroney and Borgsrud, who are now fighting each other very close, as that is going to be Zenkar, who has had a moment, and here comes the pack. Going to have to take evasive action as the entire grid, as the car's slow on the inside. Meatball into the pit lane comes Zenkar. No surprise there from what we've just seen, and that is Marshall, who is sideways in the pit lane. Caution is out on the wins. That was pit number 10 of Borgsrud. What has happened here? The caution flies again for the 5th time in this race, if I'm doing my maths. And now looks for the up and under coming through this corner. Is there contact with the car coming through? No, just a massive rear end loss. That sends him round, and he's in the middle of the circuit. Is there contact with anybody else? No, but that did bring the caution out.
What is Nick Marshall doing? I think this is the second time we've seen him doing loops in the pit lane. It's almost like he's creating a mini oval inside of the pit lane. I'm not actually too sure what's going on there. But Borgersrud very, very lucky to not get hit there. Sitting completely postponed in the middle of this track. And fortunately, nobody making contact. Cassiano is up 12 positions here in this feature race. He came second in the consolation race and actually managed to fight back into the feature, and now into the top 4 position. So incredible stuff from him. But Sean Kapinski has got other issues on his hand, because guess what? He's got Big Dog on him, and looks like one of the cars trying to unlap himself just past the safety car, the pace car over there. And now Gapinski just trying to hold on. There's Neil Hanley just coming across, trying to gain back onto the main pack. You can see he is a lap down indeed. The pace car is still staying out, as it seems. But now everything is down to the line. We've got 40 laps. There's just 20 laps left of racing here. This could be done in the next 5 to 10 minutes. And so we'll have to keep a close eye out. Nick Marshall is finally out of the pit lane, and Alex Bradley is at the pit exit. So strange things going around the track here, Alexa.
Indeed it is, as I'm looking at the lap times right now. Averages for the best times are around 16 seconds per lap as the green flag flies. Under pace it's 30, but that's going to be an absolutely amazing start on the outside for Cassiano. Stays at P number 2, now going to lose out to Maroney though. Maroney with an up and under on the opening lap, on the opening time. Now going to go through into the second banking, wheel to wheel, side by side. Both of P number 2 is truly on as you head through here for a square between 2, 3, 4 and 5. Bagada and Dog also going to be battling each other heading through the first banking. Black flag all over the place for Toasters, Brongers and Borgsrud as the caution is out once again on the first banking. Massive contact in the back, and it is yellow here at the park. And now we get the replay here of what has happened. 9 positions down is Alexander comes across, and that is massive contact, and then once again into the first banking. Just seemingly cannot get away from contact tonight.
Yeah, no, there just seems to be so much going on here tonight. Everybody is just trying to find their footing. And it's actually a shame for Borgersrud. He really had a good qualifying time and really had pace here around this circuit to potentially keep himself nicely up there in the top 5. But unfortunately, due to a series of unfortunate events, he has been pulled all the way down to 11th. And now Gapinski holding off in first position with Cassiano behind. I think a huge mention as well, just before the chaos continues, once again, a massive shout out to Sambo iRacing, the official partner of the TGR Nation Grand V Series, providing really high quality iRacing setups to some of these drivers who actually probably are using Sambo iRacing to get a little bit more pace out of these cars. But some incredible stuff that they're doing for the iRacing community, and a massive shout out to them. But back to the race here, Gapinski is holding that inside line there. You can see he's not wanting to give it to Cassiano and potentially lose out on that inside lower embankment, which does offer slightly less distance on this track. So we're going to have to see what he can do, as the pace car will be coming in towards the end of this lap.
Towards the end of this lap is when it will come in, as you see another car overtaking there and trying to make their way through. Out in this race is Bradley and Ratrail White. It has been a race to forget for the two high up in the championship, but it's not a race to forget for Kapinski. He is chasing down those leaders, and now he has his chance. Cassiano's got an amazing start there. His green flag flies again. We are away. Marin gets past Bagada further back. Kapinski back into the lead. Maroney past Dog. Borgstrud versus Hanley has already happened, and he's got past, making their way through now. The second banking here around this circuit, wheel to wheel, side by side. Going to be all look square. Few more back. Black flag for Hanley. Marshall, Borgrud, but no caution in the wind. We are 48 laps down here, 12 remain. Now into the left-hander, through these corners, all over the place. This is going to become even more interesting towards the entrance than as Dog gets past Marin.
Yeah, the fight is going to continue on here in the top 5. Borgersrud just gets past Bergada, and Dog gets past the likes of Marin, but Marin fighting on the outside line is trying to hold it on for the exit speed here. And now Dog on the outside line, you can see how he launches on that upper embankment. There's a car on the inside there that looks to be Marshall once again, but now Big Dog holding on to the right, onto the outside here. Marin's got the inside, he's got the shorter distance, but he won't have the slingshot onto the straight. You can see there comes the likes of Big Dog carrying a little bit more speed, but Matthias Marin is holding onto that inside line. Now flicks to the outside for a reverted position change here, and there's more action towards the back there. Bergada and Thiessen fighting hard as well, and Bergada holding onto the outside, Thiessen holding on the inside. It looks like that's once again Borgersrud going slow on the inside line. For whatever reason, he's lost out on loads of positions and completely loses out on the fight he was fighting there. And now towards the back of the pack, unfortunate for him though, but Bergada is not done yet. Still holding on to the outside line of Thiessen, but Thiessen will have it into the next left-hander, but it's not going to be enough, and Bergada slingshots his way onto the straight.
Onto the straight with the slingshot. The up and unders seem to be chosen tonight. Lap 53 as into the pit lane comes Borgstrud, and if I am incorrect in this, please somebody correct me, but I believe that's a disqualification flag when it is black with white, with the white cross. I have got confirmation that is the disqualification flag. So Rattray White out on his own, but disqualification for Bradley and Borgstrud, as Dog now is chasing down Marin in front. Chasing it down like it is all over the place. 5 laps remain here as we're on lap 55, going on to 56. All over time. Now all to wheel. Gapinski leads it, seemingly disappearing for a second, but now back in the fight. Cassiano is there. It's a 1-2 for the Americans. The Aussie chasing down further back. Only 2 drivers to stay in the positions where they started, who are still in this race, is Gapinski and Maroney. Cassiano, 14 positions up since the start. He is outshining everybody tonight, Tristan.
Yeah, because Cassiano has definitely pulled a bit of a reverse comeback here. A complete sweep from the back. There's contact. Thiessen's got a little bit of suspension intertwining there with Brongers, who's now got the black flag penalty there. And thankfully, he did manage to recover it. Now fighting on with, I believe, another car there in the pack. But Sean Kapinski, now lap 59. The white flag is going to be waved shortly. But Cassiano, massive comeback. But guess what? The pace car is out. And he might actually be out while the final lap is going to be starting over here. Let's have a look a little bit further back though. What happened? Here's Brongers, and just a little further in front of him is the car number 20V. Matthias Marin's a little bit further in front. There's contact there. The nose gets swept there, and Brongers just rear-ending. Oh, and then Thiessen holding on to that inside line. Just cannot avoid Brongers sitting on the racing line there, and it's a bit of a V bounce there. But now Gapinski holding on to first behind the pace car. Lap 60 has been announced, as Cassiano just holding on to the outside, but not much to do right now behind the safety car. But I must say, Cassiano has had an absolutely incredible comeback of note.
Next car in, green flag flies. Here we go again, one more time. Round this circuit, Gapinski leads, followed by Maroney, followed by Marin. Brongers is into the pit lane, Tostes and Marshall with the black flags out on the circuit. Round this left-hander now, all the way through. Got to try and hold on to that. Is Gapinski. White flag flies and you now go on to this final lap. Gopinski is trying to hold on to it. Maroney is all over the back of him. Cassiano ended up losing out on the start, but it's now going to be this. Through the final banking. Is it going to hold on, or will it be Maroney? It's going to be Gopinski who wins here at the Oxford Plains Oval, and then it's going to be Maroney P2, Marin P3, Cassiano P number 4, with everybody else coming through. Dog P5, Bagada P6, Fisa P number 7, with Wright P8, Car P9, Toastez P number 10, and it's Hanley Brongers in P number 12. Then out is Borgstrud, Marshall, Rattray White, and Bradley. What a race, Tristan.
Yeah, that was some incredible up and down action. Unfortunately, loads of incidents up and down the field, which really did play to effect of how this race ended up. The cautions really did change how things are. There was not much back markers as we really would think to witness here due to those caution flags. But the race is officially over. Sean Gopinski will take that win. 3 tenths behind him. Nathan Maroney and Matthias Marin will round off that podium. Christopher Cassiano in 4th, with Big Dog in 5th, and Joel Bagada in 6th. Michael Thiessen, Rob Wright, and Zenkar 7th, 8th, and 9th, respectively, with Neil Hanley in 10th. Leo Brongers, who had a little bit of an incident just now, is in 11th, with Rodrigo Tostas and Alexander Borgersrud in 12th and 13th, respectively. Nick Marshall, after having a little bit of confusion there in the pit lane, finishes off in 14th, with Zach Rattray White, our champion, our current reigning champion, down in 15th position, 41 laps behind the other drivers. Super unfortunate there. And Alex Bube Bradley rounds off this top 16 in the feature race in last position with that disqualification. But my goodness, Alexa, it has been a race of note, and you wouldn't think at an oval track with just left-handers we would see so much action in and out.
In and out, it was all over the place. That first banking is definitely going to be the story of the night, I would say. The amount of contact that we saw through there, especially on the restarts of the pace car, I think that some of that's going to be looked at by some people, but it did create the interesting action which we saw. The verdict I would say on this: very good race for Kopinski, not so much for Schweening, who didn't get through the heats, as well as anybody else who didn't get through the heats. Rattray White missed out there as well. You had Cassiano with an absolutely amazing drive, only losing out after that final pace car call. But give all of it to Kopinski, because he deserved that win from what we were looking at.
Yeah, I mean, I think even through Heat 1 there, he managed to hold on to first without a doubt and no fighting at all. He managed to pull away from second position and just managed to keep that gap the entirety of the race. He did the exact same here in the feature race. He got into he started in first position, and from there was no catching him for the time being. Of course, Cassiano got a little bit close. He's down in 4th though now, and Maroney was always holding on to there in 3rd, but Kopinski really showing the consistency he has there. The V is known for losing the rear end, and especially with the continuous gradient change at an oval track like this, we saw a couple of drivers just not managing to keep that rear end tucked in nicely. But Kopinski showing how it is done, 3 tenths just ahead of Maroney, and the race win for both his singular heat and the feature race. So incredible stuff from him. It's been a great race overall though.
Amazing action across the board, and it was absolutely amazing to watch. However, I will note this, as we can see it on the board, only the top 9 ended up on the final lap. 1 lap down was P number 10 and P number 11 of Neil Hanley and Lo Brongers, with 2 laps down being Toastez and Rodrigo Tostes. Then Alexander Bergstrud, Nick Marshall, Rattray White and Bradley did not finish. The biggest ones, of course, being Rattray White and Bradley, 41 laps down. So, with ovals, do we really fit? I'll put this question to you, Tristan. What do we think about these Formula Vs on the ovals, especially considering that they don't spin off, they just spin on an axis?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think it's a bit of an odd track layout choice for a car like this. You wouldn't really think to see this. You know, if you had to ask a stranger on the track, you show them a picture of the V and you say, What track would be suited for this car? I don't think an oval would be first suited choice here, just because of this car being so low down to the floor, generating loads of slipstream and having a good amount of downforce as well. It's not usually what you would see on a track like this, but some of the drivers really made it work. You can see on screen now a couple of drivers not having the easiest of times, and a little bit of incidents here and there. A couple of drivers having to bounce off the wall like Lightning McQueen, avoiding contact. And a couple of them actually finding a couple of glitches in the iRacing software itself. Zach Trey White over here just managing to intertwine his suspension with another driver there of Alex Bradley. So interesting things happened overall this race. This was one to definitely note for the books.
We are going to be you were talking about the way that this circuit is laid out. We go to a very different circuit next week, which is of course going to be the reverse format of Summit Point Jefferson. From what we're understanding, it's a bit like a go-kart track if it was in a forest. So we're going from an oval to a very thin circuit. So how are we thinking it's going to fare? Because going from a circuit like this to a circuit like Summit Point Jefferson, that's definitely going to take a lot of preparation on the part of the drivers.
Well, I mean, we saw it actually with Cadwell Park being one of those narrow circuits. Also not being one with very wide roadway and the ability to have 2 or 3 cars wide. And it really did play an interesting race. Drivers could not overtake in positions that they thought they could. There was very few opportunities to make amends in case you made incidents, and the back markers really started to interfere with those narrow roadways. So I think it's going to be a super incredible and very, very complicated race next week, with it being such a narrow go-kart style track. Meaning, once again, it's not going to even be one of those longer tracks. We're going to see back markers. We're going to see action. And I definitely think anybody watching here should be here next week, because it's going to be one that you need to remember.
And it is going to be one to think about. Go-kart track, who knows? This has been the Southern National Motorsports Park, aka Oxford Plains Oval. Ladies and gentlemen, I have been Alexa Marshall with Tristan Herbst. Our producer has done an absolutely amazing job tonight, is Samula Kumo. He's been in the background bringing you all the camera shots. We'll be back, same time, same place, next week. Have a good night.